Nice to see you again on my channel. Let's dive into the new story and try to resolve it together in the comments below after watching this video. Get comfortable and let's begin. Let me start with some background. My wife and I are both 54 and have been married for 31 years. She is an RN at a hospital, while I have been working for a home builder since I was 18. Our two children are both grown and in their 20s, living outside of our house. In our mid-40s, we decided to pursue my wife's dream of running a bed and breakfast. We had been intermittently searching for years when we came across a 5-acre property with a home built in the 1870s. The original owners of this property were large landowners with an extensive agricultural business empire. However, over time, fewer family members wanted to continue farming, leading to the sale of land parcels. Our town has experienced significant growth, becoming quite popular among tourists due to its natural formations and beauty. As a result, the farmland along the main highways is being rapidly developed. However, the house and land we purchased are situated away from the busy highways. Since buying the property, my wife and I have been renovating the entire house. Neglect had taken its toll on some basic maintenance, and we aim to restore the house to its former glory from 150 years ago. Alongside our renovations, we are also focused on making a living from the bed and breakfast. While I handle the physical renovations, my wife takes charge of decorating the rooms and manages the mortgage payments. I pay for all the materials and seek professional help if necessary. Being quite handy, I am able to do most of the work myself. In recent years, the housing industry has experienced significant growth, and we have been busier than ever. We would work 8 days a week if we could. However, last year, the pandemic forced us out of work for a while, and material shortages further complicated matters. Throughout this period, my wife, being an RN, has been on the front lines for the past 18 months. Last year, she worked weeks at the hospital without taking any days off. The medical staff stayed at the hospital, with several of them sharing rooms. It's safe to say that the staff grew close due to the circumstances. They followed a 4-week on, 2-week off schedule, starting in March of last year and continuing into the fall. The pattern repeated after Thanksgiving. Even after our children were older, my wife continued to work for others if they asked for her help. She witnessed young parents crying because they couldn't see their families, so she selflessly offered her time off to those who needed it the most. There were others who did the same. The whole COVID experience changed her, witnessing people being put on ventilators and the deaths that occurred. She became a different person, distant, and our bedroom activities life came to a halt. I attributed this change to either her experiences or her age. I tried discussing it with her, but she simply said she didn't feel it anymore. Despite these challenges, we continue to work closely together on the house. We also plan trips to an area in our state known for its large Amish population. The local Amish are renowned for their craftsmanship in woodworking and sewing. We purchased several pieces of furniture and handmade quilts for the bedrooms. Over the past weekend, we had plans to take a 3-day trip to the Amish area to buy dining room furniture. In addition to my main job, I also engage in a side gig where I take down old barns and sometimes pay or trade for the wood. Barnwood is highly sought after. However, my boss called me and informed me that everyone would be working the entire week because he managed to secure wood and shingles for a house we had been waiting on supplies for. I informed my wife that we could still go on Saturday and Sunday. But on Friday morning, she told me she was still going with some coworkers because there was a fall festival happening as well. That night, I went to a local bar where I ran into one of her coworkers. I asked if she was going on the trip, but she had no knowledge of it. So, I texted my wife to check if she made it okay and inquired about who was with her. She responded that her friend, her other close friend, and a friend named Stevie were there. The name Stevie had come up in conversations in the past few months, and I had always assumed it was a female. Curious, I asked her friend at the bar if she knew this Stevie, but she said she didn't. However, she mentioned that there was a Steven who worked with them. My wife returned on Sunday afternoon with bags of tablecloths, napkins, kitchen towels, and more. As she was showing me what she bought, she pulled out a smaller bag and remarked that it wasn't for us. I let it go at the time. Later, I discovered that she had hidden the bag in a closet. It contained decorations for a man cave dedicated to a college team. I'm not interested in sports, so it clearly wasn't for me. I asked to talk with her about the trip and who went. She provided the same 3 names as before. I specifically inquired about Stevie because we hadn't met this person yet. She tearfully confessed that Stevie was a man they work with and that they had been having an affair since last year during the hospital lockdown. As a result, she is now living in one of the finished bedrooms, while I remain in our original bedroom. I have decided to consult with a lawyer on Monday as I'm unsure about what to do regarding the house, the business, and our marriage. To me, it seemed like she was sorry for getting caught, but not for the affair itself. I asked if she would end the relationship with Stevie, but she expressed uncertainty. Update. It has been a hectic couple of weeks. In addition to my regular work and side gigs picking up, my wife and I have been battling. I consulted with a lawyer, and after explaining everything, he suggested that we try to work it out before getting him involved. The house is still not operating as a business, so we can't sell it as such. We would have to sell it as an unfinished house, which would lower the price. We have invested well over $100,000 into the house, in addition to the mortgage. The lawyer will need to consult with a real estate attorney and possibly a business attorney, so their fees are going to be high. I tried to approach my wife to see if we could talk, but I'm not sure if she's embarrassed about being caught because she has dug in her heels. She told me to leave the house, but I made it clear that I have no plans to do that. Then she suggested that I give up the master suite and move to one of the bedrooms, to which I responded that I don't plan on doing that either. She then threatened to move all my stuff out and put it in the foyer for me to decide where I would stay. I ended the conversation at that point. I went to where my supplies are stored and grabbed a new door lock with a push-button keypad. I had planned to install it on the bedroom doors once we had guests, as we can change the combination after each guest. However, I installed it on the master suite door. The next day, when I came home after a day of angry messages for putting the lock on, she was livid. She accused me of locking her out of her bedroom. After going back and forth, I asked if we could please talk, and she finally agreed. Later that evening, we sat down to talk. I expressed how hurt I was to discover the affair and mentioned that I wish she had told me she wasn't happy. She didn't say anything, so I continued by stating that, as far as I am concerned, the marriage is over. She simply nodded her head. I then informed her that I have been to an attorney, which surprised her judging by her expression. I explained what the attorney advised, that it would be best if we could come to an agreement on what to do. Our largest asset is the house, and selling it would result in a significant loss. She smiled and confidently claimed that she can prove she paid the mortgage, making the house hers. I shook my head and disagreed, as my attorney explained that the house is a marital asset with both our names on the mortgage. At that point, I pulled out a couple of binders containing every receipt for the money I spent, meticulously filed by room to track the expenses incurred in refurbishing the house. I started this out of curiosity, but continued as we finished each room. I can prove that I spent thousands of my own money on renovating the house. She was caught off guard by the receipts, realizing she hadn't consulted an attorney. I proposed that we try to live peacefully together and finish the house, and once the bed and breakfast is up and running, she could buy me out of the business. However, she dug her heels in once again, insisting that I leave. If not, she has plans to move. Stevie, this hurt a lot. I got up and poured myself a glass of water to collect my thoughts. When I returned to the table, I told her that if I see him in the house or on the property, I would start disassembling everything that has been done. I would remove every nail and screw, take down every light and plumbing fixture. I made it clear that I would not destroy them since I own them, but I would replace them with salvaged materials. I told her to think about it and consult with whoever is giving her advice. Let me know. Yesterday, she approached me after several days of not talking. She asked if we could talk again. She had spoken with our kids, as I had called each of them and informed them of what's going on. Our daughter suggested that we stay in the house until it's completed, start the business as I had suggested, and maybe I could move out but still own 50%. Mom could run the business, bringing in a couple of employees to help, including doing yard work to give Mom a day off. I told her I would think about it, but my stance on Steven will not change. So I have another appointment with the attorney. The big issue is that we probably won't be in business until 2023. The exterior needs a lot of work, including landscaping, and we need to find a room for one of us to live in. The room I'm currently in is part of the rooms for rent. Regarding my cheating fiancée, she is mad that I dumped her and begs me to come back, but I've found a new life. Now, I'm faced with a difficult situation where sometimes I want to reach out to my ex and establish a friendship with her, but I also think it might be selfish and awkward. Our relationship lasted for 3 years, and in hindsight, without the honeymoon phase and rose-tinted glasses, I can now see the red flags that were present from the beginning, which I ignored back then. I fell in love with her first and confessed my feelings twice, but both times she turned me down. During the second time, she pulled me in for a hug and told me she valued our friendship and didn't want to risk it if things didn't work out romantically. After that, I wasn't planning to ask her out again, but I made it obvious that I still liked her. She wanted me around, and I felt comfortable being my nerdy self with her, not having to pretend to be someone I'm not to impress her. Then, a year later in August, she decided to ask me when I was going to ask her out again, so I did, and we started dating. This was the first wave of red flags. We both agreed that we didn't want children, but during a conversation, she made a comment about not holding anyone's baby unless they were a certain K-pop idol. While I understand celebrity crushes, and we had already agreed on not having children, I found this comment to be a bit much. It felt like I wasn't really a priority or a first option. This happened pretty early in the relationship, and I feel like it set a tone for the future. There were more red flags in the relationship. She kicked me from her Discord server, and every time we held hands alone. I should say you and then push me away before coming back and grabbing me. Okay, maybe it was funny the first few times, but when it happens every time, it begins to weigh on your own self-thoughts. This marks the second wave of red flags. Things were going mostly well until high school graduation. It was the loneliest I had ever felt, even while being in a relationship. I have this tendency to isolate myself when I feel lonely or abandoned, separating myself from the group. I start to believe that I have nothing to contribute to the conversation, and even when I do speak up, I get ignored or told to shut up if I repeat myself to get a response. It made me question why I should even try. This was my experience when hanging out with too many friends at once, and my ex started getting involved in many of these group conversations. When she saw that I was uncomfortable, she would ignore me as well. I also noticed that she never really said I love you as much, not even responding with an I love you too when I expressed it. Finally, we graduated, and it had been 2 days since I had seen her. So, I texted her, "I miss you," to which she laughed and asked how, giving me the impression that she didn't miss me. I stopped responding and went to find a friend. I finally had a chance to cry and express my frustrations about how alone I had been feeling. I also went into many Discord servers to anonymously rant to unbiased people. I never tried to paint myself as the victim and her as the monster. If I could argue the opposite, it would be that I may have done wrong, but I don't think the situation warranted such a blow-up. I just wanted to be told that I was wrong and to apologize to her, and I believed that understanding my mistake would make reconciliation easier. The responses I received were that we were just incompatible or that she was the one in the wrong, not me. Before moving on to the third wave, I want to bring up our bedroom activities life. We waited until our first anniversary to have bedroom activities. We were both virgins and lost it to each other. However, I felt slightly robbed because before that, she asked me if I was okay with involving toys in our relationship. I said I was uncomfortable, but she went ahead and ordered one anyway. When she told me, she started off with, "I know you're going to be mad, but I did it anyway because your opinions and comfort don't matter. I've wanted this for way too long, and I'm sticking with it." I believe she crossed a boundary that I wasn't ready for, and I think I should have left her at that point. Anyway, my argument was that since we were both virgins, I thought it would be nice to have bedroom activities without any comparisons or distractions, and just enjoy and understand it together for our first time. But nope, she called me insecure and told me to grow up because it wasn't a replacement for me. She asked if it would have made a difference if she had bedroom activities before we started dating. Well, yeah, it would have. We could have shared an intimate moment together because bedroom activities isn't just physical for me, it's an expression of love, like hugging and kissing. It's intimate. Right after bedroom activities, she made a comment comparing me to her toy. Great, just what I wanted to hear. The third wave of red flags was our bedroom activities life dying. At first, it seemed like something she was more in the mood to explore and was ready for, but then she wasn't. It frustrated me, and I couldn't figure out where I went wrong. It went from 3 to 4 times a month to once a month if I was lucky, and sometimes none at all. I felt self-conscious. I was always the one to initiate intimacy, she never did. When I left it to her, she never acted. It hurt to get rejected, and she expected me to just smile and get past it when she did. Imagine the confusion and frustration of going in for a kiss and having your partner turn their head and push you away. Why is this seen differently with bedroom activities? That rejection can't upset you unless you're only there for bedroom activities. Anyway, now it's during the pandemic. I hadn't watched Naruto in full, so I decided to give it a watch. After finishing it, I joined a Discord server and met a girl who had also started watching Naruto around the same time as me, and it was her first watch too, so we had lots to talk about. She was really cool and made me feel more loved and attended to than my ex did. Turns out, she really did like me. When I went to talk to a friend about it, he said, "What are you doing with someone who makes you miserable? You should be accepting her offer." I simply couldn't and had to cut her off to avoid any temptation. This sparked a conversation with my ex, where I was about to break up with her so I could find the love and attention I felt from the other girl, which I could give back. But my ex cried and begged me to stay, so I did. And I wasn't rewarded for it. I wasn't rewarded for staying loyal, I wasn't rewarded for giving her another chance. It was the same routine, except that she finally started saying "I love you" more. It felt forced, but at least she was trying now. This conversation made me ask her, "Hey, you know how I asked you out twice, and I wasn't gonna ask you out again? I was gonna try to get over you and accept that we could only be friends. But then you told me to ask you out the third time. What was it about me that made you want me the third time that was different from the previous 2 times?" Her reply was, "You were still in love with me." My mom realized and pointed it out to me. If she hadn't, we probably wouldn't have dated. To be honest, I didn't know what to think or if that was okay. Of course, I know now that it wasn't, and I'll explain why. But first, let's move on to the fourth and final wave of red flags involving characters. I apologize for this getting long. I just want you to understand how I feel and what I would be letting into my life. I'm going to call my best friend from 11th grade, Junior M, and my ex-best friend on Snapchat, F. We bonded over a Thanos meme, and F is female. Okay, so 2 separate situations merged into one. I'll try to keep this short. Junior was my best friend, and our friendship blossomed late in 11th grade. But after graduation, he dropped off the face of the earth. I tried getting in touch with him, but I either got left on read and ignored or my messages were just delivered without a response. No problem, that happens naturally. But then in November 2020, I see that he's become buddy-buddy with my girlfriend. Now I'm put off because I tried to reach out, and they've been friends for a while. It seemed as soon as I found out, she tried to push me to be friends again with Junior. But he should be reaching out to me. I feel like I did my part. She calls me stubborn and then pulls us into a group chat and leaves me and him alone just to say it wasn't a vibe. But I didn't push my accusations on him. It's also weird that when he started talking to her, he didn't ask how I was doing or how to reach out to me. We were best friends. Snap, my ex's Discord server, was cheating on her boyfriend with some guy. My ex was having trouble with how possessive Snap had become, and my ex would rant to me about her troubles in that situation. At some point, my ex and I were arguing about our dying bedroom activities life, and she argued that I should be happy with just her being with me, and that's it. Meanwhile, I'm pouring my heart and soul into making her happy, not just for bedroom activities, but because I loved her. But now all my goodwill was ruined because it was chalked up to me doing nice guy stuff for bedroom activities. At some point, Junior got involved and pulled me aside to accuse me of not really loving my girlfriend. I argued that it's not about trade. I loved my ex and worked hard to make sure she'd be happy with a future with me. I was working hard to be the man who ticks all her boxes for an ideal relationship, and I needed her to do the same for me. I wanted bedroom activities in a relationship because it's intimate. He said he understood, but I needed to shut up and just consider her feelings. Now he's on my crap list. We both need to be happy in a relationship, and with this argument, I've realized that I'm just not going to be happy if she's happy, and vice versa. She was the one who was happy with how things were, and I needed a change. But if she couldn't change, then I didn't need this relationship. So I wanted to end it, but before I could suggest it, she said that I win and would get what I wanted. It wasn't satisfying because I didn't feel like it was genuine. I told my ex that the way Junior had been acting was weird to me. I mainly mentioned how when he and she started hanging out, he didn't ask how I was doing or how to talk to me, even though I had been trying to reach out. It was her who forced it, and now the only reason he ever talks to me is because she tells him to, not because he actually wants to be friends again. So I'm cutting him out, and I also need her to put up barriers with him, not cut him out completely, just cut back, please. Because she, Junior, and Snap have been hanging out too much while excluding me, and it's making me uncomfortable. Then she accuses me of insinuating that she's cheating, but she isn't, because Junior likes Snap, and he's just a friend. Next, ex rants about Snap's possessiveness over her AP, whom my ex is also friends with. I say, wait, so tell me, does Junior know about Snap and her cheating? And ex says, yes, he also got to see Snap's pic in the group chat and encourages Snap to cheat with her AP, saying he wants a piece of that action too. That's when I lose it. WTF. He's actively sabotaging her relationship. And ex also mentions that he says, what her BF doesn't know won't hurt him. Ex says he was just joking, though. WTF. This isn't a joke. You don't make jokes like that. It's so disrespectful. Snap's AP and Junior don't respect him. That's not what a friend does. Ex goes, okay, I'll go talk to Junior, then comes back with some text from Junior telling ex to tell Snap, keep sending photos in the group chat. Tell your BF it's an anonymous all-girls chat. I'll avert my eyes, I promise. I can't help but laugh. My ex said this was great advice and that Junior cares. WTF. Me, ex, Junior, and Snap all went to high school together. We live in the same town. This isn't anonymous, nor are all girls. How is lying great advice? Why didn't he say to Snap, hey, you know I have a crush on you. I want to prioritize your happiness. I need you to stop sending pics in the group chat and be loyal to your BF, or break up before you hurt him because this has long-term implications on your reputation if it got around. That's what a good friend would do, especially for a crush that respects you. It's one thing if she was single or her BF allowed this. She continued to pick her friends over me. I had it. They continued to exclude me. It got to the point where I would cry myself to sleep to not feel lonely. I started gathering old friends together and acting single again. I met a girl and I really began to like her. Now I have to make a choice. I finally left that miserable relationship and she didn't fight me to stay. But when I did, it kept bothering me that she didn't want our friendship to be gone if things didn't work out. I offered her friendship when I broke up with her, and she said sure. Later, I asked her how she was doing and told her that if she was hurt, it would be okay not to answer immediately. I know I said that, but the complete silence bothered me. If she valued me, she would have reassured me that we could be friends and to give her time with a short response, right? The second time I asked her, again more desperate, that I want a friendship. But once again, nothing. Now I have come to realize that she still has a hold over my emotions. Her silence is destroying me because I still love her very much. She also spent time trying to convince me that Junior and Snap were my friends too, but nobody came to check on me. Nobody asked if I was okay or why I did it. I'm willing to bet that they were all even talking about how terrible I had been as her BF, turning all my efforts into malicious schemes. I was so hurt and hungover with her that I needed to block her to take time to heal. I had a beautiful new girl who was holding my hand through it. We aren't dating, but we're saying I love you and doing stupid stuff like talking about marriage and living together. She gets flustered, and I feel like a priority. She checks on me so routinely and greets me with "I miss you." I actually really love her and think I can make steps forward with her. Because of her, I barely think of my ex anymore, maybe only once a week when certain songs, locations, or reads trigger memories. It doesn't hurt to hear her name anymore. And lastly, I forgive them, all three of them. I don't think she was cheating, he's just not the type of person. My unhappiness and the fact that I was seeing a happy future elsewhere, where I could be with someone who made me a priority, made me realize that I wasn't her priority. I don't think she ever actually loved me in the first place either. It was convenient for her, as she thought she was unlovable, and I'm just the idiot who fell in love without requiring much effort to gain or maintain it. She got to feel loved and be promised marriage and a guy who prioritized her, but I don't think that makes her bad. Should I let them back into my life, mainly my ex? I promised her that if things went wrong with her, it wouldn't affect our friendship. But I'm so scared. I want to honor my word, but I also don't want to fall in love with her again. At first, I kept dreaming about seeing her again. I don't have those dreams anymore, but in those dreams, I kept feeling pain about seeing her again and a desire to give it a try at an exclusive relationship again. I would wake up horrified at myself. I'm not even sure if I want the friendship anymore. I can't think of any good memories where I really enjoyed my moments with her without thinking of a petty argument we had around the corner. The last dream I had was me saying how I wanted to maintain the friendship, and she called me selfish and asked what if it wasn't what she wanted. So now I hesitate. What should I do? Should I reach out and involve myself based on a promise made years ago? Or do I give it up? I think I have the resolve that I love this new girl so much that if my ex tried something, I'd block her again in an instant. She wasted the chance of a relationship with me. Guys, thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate that you have devoted your time to my work, specifically on this channel. If you subscribe to the channel, I will be happy. But if you decide to talk to me in the comments about this story, I will be even happier. Stay tuned for my next story on this channel.